Hi, I'm Sam here at Rick Jones Pianos with a really wonderful piano I quite enjoyed playing. This is a August Hoffman Baby Grand, originally sold by ourselves new in 2004. It's model 152, so that's the length of the piano in centimeters. It's 5 feet long. It's a Baby Grand. And it's a piano, as I mentioned, we sold new. We sold many of these new back in the 2000s, the decade between 2000 and 2010. They were made by the Dongbei factory in northeastern China. It was a factory that put a variety of different brand names on their pianos. If I remember my very fine piano book correctly, the Dongbei factory themselves acquired the equipment and designs from the old Nordiska piano company, which I believe was based in Sweden. And with it, they seem to have acquired some other brand names that were owned by Nordiska, including Hoffman. They were themselves originally a Swedish piano company. Well, in my opinion, the Dongbei factory, they were eager to really make, for a low price, a decent little piano. And this piano really delivers. We worked on it, we buffed and polished the case, re-regulated the action. It wasn't bad when it came in, it's just the type of refreshing that it needs, the original parts need after 20 years of playing. Not heavy playing, just moderate. And it turned out really beautifully. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I was really enjoying myself playing it. The keys felt very responsive, a little firm, so firmer than I'm used to, but very satisfying to play. It reminded me a lot of a Kawai grand piano in that respect. And as I mentioned earlier, the Dongbei factory had acquired a Nordiska design, so that includes the scale design on this piano. So the shape of the cast iron plate, soundboard strings, bridges, strings, how that determines the position of the strings. It was a good design that they elected to continue making when they acquired the Nordiska company, and they also, as I understand, used some German parts in the manufacture of this piano. We're not saying it's a German piano, it's made in China back in 2004, but they did use German strings and they did use German hammers. And I can tell, I actually just tuned this piano right before this video. It tunes up so cooperatively. All the tuning pins feel tight. They set nicely. That's a technical term. Just when we move the pin, and as a tuner, we have to position it in the right, as we twist it in the right position so that it stays where it is. It does so consistently all throughout the scale, and strings I can tell they used, in my opinion, a quality string, because there's not so much of a harsh sound when I was tuning. It's all very clear. These are all really subtle things that the manufacturer didn't have to care about because they were making a less expensive piano, but they made it worth it for them, and it really turned into a nice little piano. And we're happy to still get these back, even after many years. They're very easy for us to service, and when properly serviced, they really turn out to be a nice starter baby grand piano for someone maybe who is new to the world of pianos and you have to have a grand piano, but you're on a low budget. In my opinion, really a lot of piano for the money that we have here. I did mention it has polished, that we polished it. It's a gloss ebony case, which is quite popular these days, more contemporary in fashion. Really, you'd be hard-pressed to find any blemishes on it. Either my colleagues did an incredible job fixing whatever problems it did have, or it wasn't in bad condition to begin with. It really looks beautiful. Plus it has, well, I should say, okay, it has this bench here, which is original, spade leg to match the spade legs of the piano. And the bench is in good condition. It has not been beat up. So that tells me the previous owner simply didn't use this piano very much. Usually benches get worn out, they get shoved around a room. People sit on them, they get repositioned all the time, and it takes some wear and tear. But when we get a piano in like this with its original bench, and the bench is still in good condition, that gives us confidence as technicians that the piano's had a pretty easy life. And so that's why we're comfortable putting a 10-year warranty on this piano, all parts and labor, and 100% lifetime trade-up guarantee. Just please make sure you have it in tune twice a year by a professional technician and kept in moderate stable humidity. Doing so will ensure the structural integrity of all the wooden components of the piano especially, and it will allow the piano to sound more stable in tune over time, and it will continue to sound good. So it's something you want to do if you want to be able to enjoy your piano. If you wish in the future, you could return to us and trade this piano in precisely for its instrument sales price. And very often we do get these pianos in trade from people who are just getting started in pianos, and the teacher really drives the student to continue practicing and improving. And then when the time comes, in the teacher's discretion, they recommend a nicer, larger piano, perhaps a 6-foot Yamaha or something. These pianos do their job. They get students started off on the right track with the responsive keyboards. I said Yamaha, maybe more Kawai, because it's a little bit firm. And really gives them the momentum they need to get started becoming a better pianist. And well, I was able to get, I must say I was surprised at how much musical color I was able to get out of this piano. My expectations weren't quite so high for a piano that's less expensive, but goes to show you that when a well-designed piano gets serviced properly, we get good results, and this one really delivers. I was able to get a lot of tonal color out of it, wide dynamic range, and the keys felt very responsive and smooth. So, having said all those things, I'll call the tone a 5 on a scale from 1 to 10, from mellow to bright. You can make it sound bright if you play more loudly, but it gets quiet and warmer when you play softly. And the touch, it's on the firm side. That's why I compared it to a Kawai. They, in my opinion, are known for more of a firmer touch, and this reminded me a lot of that. Admittedly, firmer than I'm used to, but I was able to get used to it quickly, and the keys, it's like they bounce back up very quickly. They reset to a ready position very quickly, and that's part of the response. That's what I mean by responsiveness, and it's something I find often in Kawai grands too. So whatever they did to design this, plus the fact that we regulated it, it really made it very satisfying to play. And if you are a student whose teacher has told you to find a firmer touch piano, I think you'll be in a really good position with this. It will build up your strength in your fingers to be able to play a Kawai or a Steinway in the teacher's studio. So 6 on the scale from 1 to 10 for the touch. I think there's let me see here. It has a sostenuto middle pedal, which a lot of less expensive bass grands did not have, especially back in the day. They would simply be, the middle pedal would simply be an abbreviated version of the right pedal. The right pedal lifts all the dampers off the strings. It's the sustain pedal or damper pedal. The middle pedal was just only the bass strings on a cheaper piano, but they really tried to make this piano as much as it could be, and they used the same mechanism that you would find in a larger Yamaha Kawai or a Steinway brand. It's a true sostenuto, so you press notes. While depressing the notes, you depress the middle pedal. Only the dampers for the notes you pre-selected continue to be engaged, allowing the notes to continue to sing. It's like having the third hand holding down notes on the keyboard for you. So just yet another sign that they, in my opinion, put a lot of thought into the design of this piano to make it as good as it could be for the price that it was at. And, well, highly recommend it. If you're just getting started in the world of pianos and you have to have a grand piano, I think you'll be really pleased with this. I certainly was. In any case, we recommend that you come out and see this for yourself. If you can't make it, you can always give us a phone call or send us an email, but we do hope to see you here if you can. Thanks.